I'm Ivan, the moderator for this webinar. I welcome everyone to today's webinar, Form W-2 Update for 2026. I want to introduce our presenter for today, Diana Riem. Diana is currently the Director of Payroll Operations at Anne and Robert Lurie Children's Hospital of Chicago. Diana has been heavily involved in the payroll field for over 17 years. Starting as a payroll clerk at a small Tucson company, Diana on to be a payroll team leader at Honeywell Inc. Diana has her CPP, Certified Payroll Professional, through the APA. She also serves on the National American Payroll Association, the National Strategic Leadership Task Force, Government Affairs Task Force. Diana has received a citation of merit for her service and for being a Gold Pin member of the APA. Besides her payroll accomplishments, Diana is certified in HR hiring and firing practices. She is a Six Sigma Green Belt. She is currently the payroll tax and garnishment manager at PetSmart Inc. I would now like to hand over the floor to the speaker. Over to you, Diana.
Thank you very much, and welcome to Form W-2 2025 and 2026. So first, let's talk about what we are going to review today. So first, we're going to dive into just the Form W-2, some key aspects, W-2 requirements, filing deadlines. We're going to review that and make sure that that is clear from a filing deadline perspective. Electronic W-2s, if you're going to provide electronic W-2s, what does that look like and how you should handle that? We will review W-2 reconciliation. So what are some key ways that you can handle W-2 reconciliation and make sure that that is being handled appropriately? So we'll talk through that as well. Then we will dive into a box-by-box review. So I will go box by box within the W-2 and kind of review those key aspects with you. So definitely want to review that. We'll talk about handling duplicate W-2s. So if you have, need to make a duplicate or an employee requests a duplicate, what does that look like and how would that be handled? And then penalty structure. So from a penalty structure perspective, we'll want to make sure to review that. One of the big changes is OBBBA. So what our One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Definitely want to review with you some key aspects of the bill and how it's going to affect the W-2 both in 2025 and 2026. So we're getting ready to submit our 2025 forms. So definitely want to have some visibility on how that will look. So we're going to review that as well. And then we'll talk about the 2026 form and some key aspects there from a 2026 form perspective. All right, so a Form W-2, again, wage and tax statement. It is an information return that shows wages and taxes that are reported for an employee. All right, the form itself is a 6-part form. All right, now some updates. Now I do have the 2024 updates on here only because these updates continue to impact us even into 2025/2026. All right, some other changes that are noteworthy that you do need to be aware of. All right, W-2 reconciliation. All right, so let's begin our box-by-box review. All right, box 8 is your allocated tips. Here's your box 12 codes for 2025. Box 14, other information. All right, so some other reporting concerns, so some key things here. All right, handling duplicate W-2s. Now, you do not have to keep the W-2s that come back in the mail as long as you can produce them electronically up to 4 years after you've issued them. Information return penalty structure. And then obviously, what's a small business? A small business is any company that makes under gross receipts of up to $5 million. W-2C, that information is here for you from a W-2C perspective. And then 1099 NEC, do you remember in 2020 this form did make its comeback? All right, let's get to 2026 and what that W-2 is going to look like. So we are going to have some more legislation for 2022. Now, again, this year we're in the transition rule. Tips, same thing. From a tip taxation changes perspective, again, the transition rule for this year. The White House did put out their own White House calculator. Here is the new codes for the W-2 for Box 12. All right, so we covered a lot of information in a short period of time. So again, thank you for sharing time with me. I hope you got a lot of valuable information out of today's session and found it a really good use of your time. And I want to say thank you very much, and I wish you all a very pleasant day ahead.
Thank you, Dinah. That concludes the session for today. Thank you everyone for participating, and you may all disconnect now. Have a great day ahead. Bye.